Hey everyone, recording this on Christmas. About to go out for Christmas dinner, yay! Socialising in 2020, how rare. And what I'm going to do before I go out is I'm going to get this draining. As you can see, it's in a bit of a sorry state. The pump has for some reason dropped. It's a bit dirty and dusty inside. One of the downsides of water cooling is you have to clean this out every now and again. I can see some grime in the CPU block, so I'm going to go through how I'm going to drain this machine and clean it for all you out there that also have or are looking into building open loop cooling. Wouldn't recommend it, but it's fun, and yeah, it's one of the worst parts. Now, I've been smart, been doing this for a long time now, so all my years of experience of water cooling does pay off. I have a drain here. I don't unfortunately have a way to easily release it from above because I don't have a highest point. I've got two equal high points, and there's a pipe that's higher, so not great. But for the small case it had to do. But I do have a drain, which everyone seems to forget about putting in, and I kind of get it. It looks a bit ugly. What's this thing doing here? I could have just ran a piece of piping from there to there and not had this ugly joint here. But let's have a look inside and look at the state that it's in, and let's tidy it up, shall we? Now, most of you recognise this from the title screen. This is my... It was a showpiece, let's be honest. I've built many open loop machines in the past, but this is the first time I've done one to this extent for myself. The last one I built for myself was probably 2012. I then went AIO after that, which I'll cover in a future video, because I am not a fan of those at all. As you can see in here, it's very dusty. There's a GTX 1080 Ti and a Skylake 6700K in here, so that dates this a little bit. I built this just before the second Bitcoin boom, and it was when Coffee Lake was, the rumours were about Coffee Lake, and I decided to build a Skylake machine because at the time I needed Windows 7 still, and that's what I went for. So as you can see, this has dropped. The reason why it's dropped is because it's only attached with Velcro. It's not actually plugged in. I'll get into that on another video, but let's just say that the pump isn't great. The only thing really holding it up is a piece of Velcro on the back and this little thing here. So in fact, I don't think that's even holding it up. But yeah, it's one of those, drops on the floor. It's one of those risers to keep your GPU from sagging if you've got a really big card. It fits into these little holes down here. But let's get draining then, shall we? As I said here, I've got a drain here. You just unscrew this and turn this. I do have a pipe pre-made. It's got an end on it, a 1/8 inch or whatever it's called, and it plugs into there. This is all still loose, so you can get that in quite nicely. So what I'm going to do is unscrew this. Of course, no water comes out because of the tap. And I'm going to empty it just into an ordinary bin. So let's get that screwed onto there. So then all I really need to do is turn this tap, and in theory nothing should come out straight away. Oh, maybe it does. There we go. So it is a bit coming out. Now, there was quite a lot of air bubbles in here. I was getting issues with the GPU overheating because the air would get trapped. I would have to blast the pumps to shift the air blockage, but hopefully this should solve this. As you can see though, This is nice clear pipe. These have discoloured over the years because of the heat and the liquid, so that's not ideal. I'm going to run just some distilled water through here first to give it a clean, and then I might replace it with some curd liquid later. This was just some purified water with some dye in it that I put together myself, along with some extra UV, which I never used, even though this has got UV lighting inside. But let that drain a bit. It's just dribbling just a little bit slowly. There we go. But in here, as you can see, that part's drained, but this part has not. And obviously the radiators are full. And so we also down here. So to get this out, all you normally have to do is open up one of the valves at the top. Now, I don't know if you can see in there. With some lighting. There is some extra bits at the top there, which I can use to release it. It's actually the temperature sensor. Which, one thing again, everyone seems to forget to add to the open loop, because how are you supposed to monitor the fans and the pumps if you don't know how hot the water is? So now I've just taken off one of the caps. It's a bit filthy. I have to replace the washer. But the water is draining again, at least slowly. Right, here we are half an hour later. As you can see, the top pipe's now empty. I believe, given a quick shake, that radiator seems empty. The water is now in this radiator, in there and in there. So, at this point, it's time to release this bit up here. It should just be a case of just giving it a twist. Yeah, these aren't exactly that tight. And hopefully water doesn't go absolutely everywhere. It's always a risk when doing this kind of stuff. But yeah, I'm now going to take apart this now and get the last bit of water out, and then I'll go on to cleaning up the radiators and various things then, because there's going to be gunk inside them. So after a bit of jiggling, a bit of changing stuff around, managed to drain 99% of it. There's still a bit of liquid in the CPU block. That's fine, that happens every time I do this. Once I run it through and give it a clean, that will be gone. So let's move on to actually taking this apart and removing all the pipes and giving it a clean, because as you can see, it's a bit grimy. Now all this is going to need a clean. This needs refixing properly. I was never able to find an actual bracket that actually attached this to there. I mean, I did, but I had to import it and the shipping was stupid. So a temporary solution with these sticky pads, which have since given up any kind of stickiness, so I'm going to replace those. But first things first, let's get all this out and give it a clean. One advantage about using PVC pipe rather than like fixed pipe, all this comes apart and it's reasonably flexible, so you haven't got to struggle in getting it apart. I've noticed there's a bit, something has leaked. It's probably this, because this isn't actually on. Yeah, it would have been that, wouldn't it? Always be careful. While this is purified water and is not supposed to be conductive, once you've added stuff like this, which is what's in here now, or was, then obviously you won't be as pure anymore and you'll be just as conductive. So you've got to be careful. I'm half tempted just to not put this pump back in, because it doesn't work as intended. it ticks. You get a little tick from it, a little clicking sound. It's always done it. I would like to replace it with a different pump, but this is the smallest pump that will fit in here. Annoyingly, they don't make it anymore. Though I haven't looked in the last 6 months to see if they do anything similar, but everything's just a bit too big to fit in here, even with this small card and the extra space that I've got. Ooh. Drip water anyway. So yeah, I'm going to now quickly take all this apart. Back in a moment. Voila! All out. Now for the fun part, cleaning up this dusty mess and cleaning up these grimy pipes. So just gotta get some white vinegar or some cleaning solution to get this clean. Pretty certain vinegar works. Let's go get that a try first. Welcome to the kitchen. I'm gonna just try running some hot water through it to see if it makes any difference. See if it clears any of the junk out. I suspect it won't do anything. Give it a shake. Nah. That's in there and it's grimy as hell. Right. I'm not talking that heavy, just, you know, boiling white vinegar from Asda of all places. Oddly enough, I never use white vinegar for jobs like this. Does that eat any of it away? Apparently not. I mean, I did this a couple of years ago and it was okay, but I did use a different UV solution back then. I mean, it's flaking off. Obviously using a pipe cleaner is alright, but yeah, it's just... it's almost sticky, but now people are probably saying you could just drop some cleaning solution in there into the loop and be done with it. Yeah, you could, but as you can see, I doubt it would shift that. That's pretty caked on. Yeah, it's almost like, well, the UV stuff's a bit of a powder, so it's actually really tacky on my fingers. So over the years of the heat, it's gone really tacky, which isn't great, is it? But there we have it. I mean, it's not the end of the world, as long as the cooling still works. Ideally, I should replace all the tubing. I don't have any spare, and what I'm going to do probably this time next year or sometime in the year, I'm going to rip all the water cooling out and replace it with something else, maybe air cooling for the CPU, and the GPU cooling is an AIU anyway. I've just bastardised it and put something else on it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to refill it now with some pure water, and it might clear it out, and I might drain it again in a month to see what happens. I might have some cleaning solution, but from past experiences I've noticed it doesn't really do anything. It's like people say use to treat your system before refilling it. I've never noticed much difference, so I'm just going to put this back together, use some pure water and see how it goes. Okay, post cleaning, now early evening. It's taken all day, but I did have a nice Christmas dinner in the middle. Before anyone freaks out, I did run all the pipes through and the radiators were through with some distilled water. Well, deionised. Works the same. So there's no impure tap water in there. And even if there was, it would only be a little bit anyway. So, what was in there before was this stuff, which is probably what's caused this blue residue on here. I'm not too concerned, it has cleaned off. It's left the purple stain. It hasn't stained the pump, hasn't stained the CPU block, even though there's still some water in there. And the radiators, I've looked inside, those are perfectly clean. So it's just this PVC pipe that it's stained. And it seems pretty stuck on there, so I'm not too concerned. I mean, I could refill it with some purple liquid. But what I'm actually going to do is I'm going to use AC Cool's just purified water. This is fine. It's perfectly good, and I want to try and do it to see if it clears this up. I don't think it will. But next time I clear this out, I think, well, the pump's got to go. And I think I'm going to put air cooling here, and then link the GPU just up to here, and remove this one entirely. So that's what I'm going to do. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to refill all this up to about there, and I'm going to cycle the power on to make sure there's no leaks and fill the system back up. Now for the fun bit. I've got this funnel running through here and into there. Not the most elegant way of doing this. I did fully intend on like drilling a hole up here, but as things are, you never quite get around to stuff. Now, when I was having a look around, I also found EX's cryofuel clear. It's not UV from what I can tell, so I'm going to add some of this in. It's got some extra stuff to help maintain this, and maybe it will clear some of this gunk off. Well, we'll see. But first of all, let's pour some of this in. It's hard to try and do this actually. Last time I did this I had two people helping me. Well, I had two people. One was keeping an eye on it and I was filling it up. Oh shit, that might be too much. Ooh, very close. So what we're going to do is we turn it on and turn it off again very quickly. No, we don't. It would help if you plug in the pump into the right thing. So turn it on again and turn it off very quickly. Well, that pumped some of it. Let's try it again. Last time I did it, it shifted it so fast. There we go. We gotta watch out for when you turn it off. It carries on going for a few seconds, and that's what can catch you out. Because if the pump runs dry, you will do it damage, and you do not want to be doing that. Sorry if my head's in shot. I'll shove this pipe back in here. There we go. There it goes. Oh, in it went. There we go. In it goes. Oh. Water cooling. Getting out of you. We'll just do air cooling. It's not worth the hassle. But while I'm filling this up, people are going to ask, what kind of temperatures do I get with this? I get about, well, when it was working well, about 55 degrees. At full load, no overclocking, and because it's PVC pipe and the pumps can only go to 60 degrees, that's about as hot as I'm willing to let it go. So it works fine for 350 watt. TDP. Oh, eesh. Yeah, that's what you don't want to have to happen. You hear that grinding sound very quick. That's bad. Well, there we go. So it took about half a bottle to fill up. Now it's going to have air bubbles in there, but they will, yeah, there's one, they will work themselves out. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to add some of this into the mix. Yeah, I don't know if you can see in there, but it's a yellow substance. So I'm going to put, what's it say, 1 to 9, so let's put about, how much is this, 100 ml? How much of this put in? I put in what, it's 1.3 litres, no, 1 litre. So what would you say, half a litre, so you should take half a bottle. I'm going to put a bit in though. That's having a strange reaction to it. Oh, that's fine. Put that back on. I'll put a bit more of the plain water back in. Eesh, that's what I was trying to avoid. Alright, let's pull that back out. I know that's not full, but I'm going to let that run for about an hour, then come back and top it up. 1 hour later, we have a few bubbles, but the water level hasn't dropped, which is perfect. I suspect it'll probably drop within the week, which means I'll top it up. But for what I need, it's fine. And interestingly, there's no ticking coming from the pump, so all good. Yeah, I'm going to put this back together, and that's that. Not very exciting at the end of the day, but it has to be done. It's part of the having an open loop cooling system. I've got some extra water left over. Obviously now this has been opened, it would only keep for, I don't know, about a month before it's useless, but it's useful for topping up what's there. And that can now be chucked away, along with possibly this. And I always have this good old purple liquid as a backup for later, so that's all good. So let's get it back together, shall we? There we go. This bit loud. Despite it having this blue colouring here, you know what? I don't think it looks too bad. It kind of works. I need to keep an eye on it though to make sure this stuff doesn't come off. But yeah, back up and running. The workshop machine, or the title screen machine either, is back up and running at full capacity. There's no air bubbles. It's all nice and clean. All the dust is gone. Should all be good to go. So that was a bit of a mess now, wasn't it? Open loop cooling. I've got a video coming soon discussing water cooling in general. And after, I think I've been doing water cooling in one way or another for about 12 years. Yeah, my opinion now is pretty much don't bother. It's a waste of time. Air cooling has come such a long way. And with the size of cases and configurations these days, air cooling is much better. Though, I've been impressed with cooling a GPU with water. So water cooling might not be a complete waste of time now, but for the CPU, stick with air cooling, and I'll go into that in more detail another day. But once again, thank you for watching. Like and subscribe below. Comment if you got a question. And until next time, goodbye.